everyone, listeners all around the globe, and we are a global podcast by definition, really. That is the digital world, but we do have listeners all over the place, and it's lovely to have you. Hola, bonjour, etc. It's the Media Beat. It's episode 95. It's with Maureen and Claire as ever, and every time a new deep dive is proposed, we tend to go, oh, why didn't we think of that before? What a brilliant idea. We've had so many of them now, and yet still brilliant ideas keep coming. And here is no exception. In fact, this might be, I won't say one of the best because it's going to put Claire under too much pressure, but it's a Claire one. And it is a subject very close to her heart. And it's soap operas. And she's going to explain what they are, what they do, some hilarious plots that she's come across, to the point where it's sort of a love letter, really. It's a love letter from Claire to the world of soap. I won't spend any more time talking about it. I'll just hand over to you, Claire, and please take us through soaps, what they are, what they do, how they affect us.
Yes, it is a love letter. It's an ode to soaps. There you go. Yes. And to everything they've done to the way we tell stories now. And I think it needs a bit of a love letter, that topic, because soaps are very often dismissed as lesser television. And partly that's because they're associated with female audiences and daytime viewing. Partly it's because sometimes they look a bit cheap, to be honest. And partly sometimes it's just because they're so volume heavy. There's so much of them that people assume that they can't possibly be proper culture. And yet, even if you're not a soap person, you're actually still being shaped by soap. So if you're watching Grey's Anatomy, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, The Traitors, Love Island, or Line of Duty, all these shows in different ways borrow from soap storytelling. And also, many of our very favorite actors were trained on soaps. Idris Elba started in Family Affairs on Channel 5. Margot Robbie or Guy Pearce started in Neighbours. Julianne Moore started in As the World Turns. Demi Moore, another Moore, started in General Hospital. Chris Hemsworth started in Home and Away. Leonardo DiCaprio played a young Mason Capwell in Santa Barbara, which some of our older listeners might remember. Okay, so let's go back in time to the history of soaps. Soap operas, which are technically called long-running serial dramas, began on radio in the 1930s in the US, and they were serialized domestic dramas for daytime audiences, and they were sponsored by consumer brands, and the big early backers were soap manufacturers like Procter & Gamble, which is where the term soap opera comes from. I'm sorry, Oliver, it's not soap boxes in Hyde Park. By the time television arrived, the format was already basically formed, and there are soap scholars, and those people will tend to define the form by open-ended narrative, multiple concurrent storylines, recurring characters, and cliffhangers. Go on, you can do it now.
Do.
Thank you. I might ask you again. Okay. So basically what it means is the story never ends. And so we got the earliest one was As the World Turns in 1956. Then we had General Hospital in 1963. Coronation Street started in 1960, actually, before that. Days of Our Lives, 65. And then, EastEnders, 85, Neighbours, 85, etc. Some cases there were formats. Soaps have formats. I think possibly the most distributed soap format was Sons and Daughters, which was a Fremantle format, a Grundy format, and it was an Australian format. And the core story of Sons and Daughters are two twins separated at birth, meet again when they're 20 and fall in love. And that format was adapted in Germany, Sweden, Greece, Italy, Croatia, Bulgaria, and Indonesia. And the reason so many soaps were launched and so many were adapted is because if you were launching a new TV channel, and people did launch new TV channels back in the days, you would ask yourself, do I need a soap? And the answer was usually yes. It was the central structure of daytime and early evening programming. It was the thing that gave a channel a personality. And yes, they had evil twins, implausible amnesia storylines, characters coming back from the dead, and storylines that completely ignored physics and occasionally basic human psychology. And I will come back to some of these. But they're also possibly the best example we have of continuous emotionally coherent world building at scale. Always on content. And very importantly, a world that keeps going whether you're watching or not. You can drop in almost at any point and you still feel like you belong, and things have happened and characters have moved on, but it still feels very, very familiar. And this is very important and often gets overlooked. So because of this familiarity, this habitual feeling, soaps have had a massive social impact. They have run incredibly impactful storylines. I'm going to give you a few examples on this because it's a topic that's very close to my heart. In 1973, Erica Kane on All My Children had a legal abortion on television in the US. This is months after Roe versus Wade. In the 80s and the 90s, General Hospital, All My Children, The Young and the Restless, they were already exploring stories of abuse, of manipulation, of controlling relationships. Now we call it coercive control. They had it all there. HIV, nobody would touch HIV in mainstream television. Mark Fowler in EastEnders, Cindy Chandler in All My Children. Gay relationships were brought into the living rooms long before anybody else would do it. Coronation Street had the first trans character in a British soap with Hayley Cropper in 1998. I mean, how early was that? And this is what soaps did. They brought things into the living room in a way that you were like, oh, okay, well, maybe it's not such a big deal if it's on All My Children and EastEnders, etc. They made it feel normal. And a lot of these stories feel normal now, but soaps were the first people there. And that's not trivial. That is culture. That is mass culture doing actual work. The other thing that's fascinating about soaps, apart from its social impact, is how they are produced. So let's talk about that. A typical soap, a typical long-running serial drama, produces around 200 to 250 half-hour episodes a year. You've got 15 to 25 core characters, plus recurring and legacy characters, which are sort of coming in and out. You've got storylines. You've got 3 storylines typically by episode, A, B, and C. So if you don't like one, it's fine because another one's just around the corner. Storylines are mapped month ahead in a big writing room. Characters exit. If you need to exit a character on a soap, it takes 6 months. That's how long from the first time you think about it to the time the character can exit the soap. And in production terms, we're talking about multiple filming units, permanent sets, temporary sets, hugely tightly controlled, scheduled. It's built for volume. It's a machine. It's an engine. It's possibly the most efficient production machine ever made. When I was at Fremantle looking after soaps, in Germany, we had 6 daily soaps, 6 daily dramas running in parallel. One of the years I was there, one of the key decisions that was taken is to switch all the lighting on all the soaps to LED, and that saved a significant portion of the budget. These are the sort of decisions you make on soap productions. They're not, are high art, but they are very important. At the time, we also sent teams to Australia. We did cost benchmarking against neighbors because essentially a soap is a soap is a soap. The economics are very similar everywhere. And this is a little dirty secret of television. After a while, after the first couple of years, soaps make a lot of money. A soap will once you've amortized your initial cost, a half-hour episode will cost in Western Europe about 100 to 150,000 pounds. In Eastern Europe or in Southern Europe, could be down to 30 to 50,000 euros for half an hour. Now you compare that with high-end drama, which is anything between 1 and 30 million an hour. That's the sort of difference that you get. And that's because everything is amortized. Sets, crews, narrative infrastructure, everything's been running for decades. For a TV channel, that sort of, machine is invaluable. It's an engine. It's a very well-behaved and slightly melodramatic engine. And I will say this because I have worked with a lot of soaps. Not all the drama happens on screen. But soaps, obviously, today feel a little bit like a legacy format. Audiences have gone down a lot. Coronation Street and EastEnders in the UK used to, attract about 12 to 16 million people, sometimes up to 30 for a big event episode. Now we're talking about 3 to 5 million, still quite a lot, 3 to 5 million audiences. A lot of it is on catch up, but much smaller. Same in the US. Daytime soaps have lost more than half their audience since the late 90s. Soaps were absolutely built for a world of fixed scheduled. In fact, there is a great anecdote that the UK National Grid has something called the TV pickup, and they track the end of soaps. You can go again, Oliver, please.
Oh, blimey. Do. Very confusing cue.
That means everybody's going to stand up from the sofa and put the kettle on, and the national grid in the UK is braced for that surge at that moment. And same at the end of Coronation Street. The whole country briefly united by a cliffhanger and a kettle. Anyway, with streaming, we lose the schedule. We lose the shared rhythm that made this soaps so culturally dominant. They haven't disappeared. They have evolved. They live on online now. Days of Our Lives famously and successfully moved from NBC to Peacock in 2022. A few others have done that. Even the ones that are still on television are very much becoming streaming. A lot of people go back and watch the old episodes, EastEnders, The Cat Slater, Storyline, for instance, very big on YouTube. But, before I go into the crazy storylines, and I did promise that, I want to leave you with this. Soaps helped establish the storytelling grammar we live with now. The cliffhanger, the easy re-entry, the endless open narrative. Even the sense that the story will keep going whether you're there or not. That's the soap logic, and you can find that logic everywhere that you look. In streaming, in reality television, in shows like The Traitors, they all borrow from it in different ways. Anyway, we're almost done. Let's go to the Hall of Fame of completely unhinged storytelling. Okay, I'm going to start with the UK. Dirty Den in EastEnders. Do you remember that? Dirty Den, thrown into a canal in 1989, before I even came to the UK, reappearing in 2003 like nothing ever happened. Iconic, Leslie Grantham. Very, very big moment. Days of Our Life had an entire storyline where a serial killer was killing everybody in the town, some of them with poisoned donuts. But it was revealed that actually they weren't dead. They'd all been abducted and they were living on a tropical island somewhere. Yes, General Hospital in the 90s had an alien abduction storyline, which was quite crazy. Neighbours was very famous for amnesia arcs, including Susan Kennedy, who lost her memory and thought she was 16 again. And Harold Bishop disappeared for 5 years. And when he came back, he thought it was called Ted. But my absolute favorite crazy storyline was on a Finnish soap called Salatut Elamat, which we used to produce at Fremantle, where there was one of many across soaps evil twin storylines. The twins were called Aro and Eero, of course, Finnish names. I can't remember which one was the bad guy, but the evil twin was pretending to be the good twin, and he was kissing the wife of the good twin. And in the throes of passion, she grabbed his ponytail, but it was a fake ponytail.
Oh,
it came off. You can look it up on YouTube. It is insane. So yes, it's absurd, it's repetitive, it's emotionally excessive. I'll tell you though, you try producing 250 episodes a year for 50 years and not run out of storylines. But this is my love letters to soap. To everyone who's ever worked on a soap, and I know some of you are listening, we love you. You're brilliant. Thank you.
That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Claire, that is definitely your love letter. Your love letters to soaps. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. But you know what I like about it though? You've made it feel less old-fashioned than we sometimes assume. Because I think the clever thing there, as you said, it's not just a format. And I think you said this right at the top of the of your love letter. It's the rhythm, and I think that makes tremendous sense. I think soaps always gave, as you say, a reason to check back in again. And as you say, it doesn't matter if you've missed 100 of them. You go back and you feel comfortable. I mean, that's spectacular. That spectacular sort of writing. And I think you're absolutely right. I think this feels really relevant now because you've got a lot of the media businesses who try to recreate that sense of habit or continuity through either the reality shows or creator-led content, vertical drama now, of course, and live sport franchises. So I think the fandom, that machine has really fueled what we see today. So I think it's hilarious, absolutely wonderful. So I think maybe our soaps, no one will say soaps are coming back, but I think what they will say is the rest of the industry has been borrowing from the soap playbook without any time calling what it is and calling it out like that. So, Claire, I loved it. I think I was trying to remember one person that also made him famous, and I think it was George Clooney in ER. Is that? Do you remember that?
I wouldn't say ER is a soap. It's got soap elements to it. It's a long-running drama, but it's definitely, it was soapy. But I wouldn't. But yes, he started it. Yes, he did. He started, and I'm not sure he didn't start before ER. He didn't start in a soap. We'll have to Google that and find out.
Yeah,
There's something about George Clooney in the soap. I will look it up.
Super.
Wow.
Marvelous.
I was going to do the do again, but I don't think I will, because it's not a cliffhanger. It's at the end. But sadly, the end. Yeah. I mean, we could have talked about Bobby's reappearance out of the shower, having a whole series of amnesia at Dallas, but I don't suppose Dallas is really a soap opera.
Yes.
That's crackers. Jumped the shark, as I believe they say in TV land. Well, that was wonderful. Well, thank you, Claire. That was great. I watched Coronation Street. It's the big one in the UK, and you get to love the characters, don't you? Like they're your own friends. And there's so much humor in Coronation Street in the sort of 70s, 80s, 90s. It's kind of lost it a little bit, you just used to get kind of addicted. But what a great summary! Some great plots there. I love the ponytail one. Obviously, I'm going to have to look that up on YouTube. That was excellent. Thanks ever so much, Claire, and your contribution, Maureen. We move on with the speed of a plot line in Hollyoaks to In the News. And so we turn to Maureen. Maureen is outside the Disney HQ in Reykjavik. Still a bit chilly, but beautiful sun there. Not sure why they've relocated to Iceland. Don't think they have. That's not the story. They've announced a super app, which Maureen is going to tell us all about. Maureen, your story.
Indeed, and I'm based in London, so
Oh, sorry, I got that.
I'd like to go back to Iceland because unlike Claire, I didn't get to see the Northern Lights, and Claire saw them from the aeroplane. She saw them from the aeroplane. So anyway, back to Disney. So Disney's moving forward. We've sort of expecting this news with the so-called super app model, bringing Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN, if I'm correct here, into one unified experience. And as Claire and I have used this word so many times over so many years, that it's yet again. It's not just a bundle, though. It looks like a bundle, sounds like a bundle, but bundle is old news. So I think actually Disney's trying to do something completely different here. I think it's really trying to sort of rewrite this sort of streaming library story. So you can dip in and out and have your real, true media environment. That's what they're trying to capture. They're trying to capture a media environment for you. Now, that's really important in terms of streaming, because we have trained audiences, or the big streamers have trained audiences to be very transactional. Subscribe, binge, cancel, move on, subscribe again. And I think Disney is really trying to push away and push against from that by putting scripted entertainment in there, general entertainment, live sport, and potentially, I think, commerce. And let's see whether or not they can actually do that in the same interface. So it's not about bundles for bundle's sake. I think that they're trying to rebuild the logic of the old TV bundle. And Claire can attest to that probably in a minute. But what they'll also have is data, personalization, advertising, and I think they'll start to have that really strong, deep, direct relationship with the customer layered on top of that. So I think maybe even just going back to soaps then, the prize here is not just going to be about the catalogue depth. It's going to be whether or not Disney really does create continuity and habit. So I think this gives people enough reasons to keep coming back and to stay within the Disney ecosystem. So let's see. But that's the news from Disney. I think, as I said, it's not just a bundle story. I think their super app may actually be a proper super app. Claire.
Yes, I think they're trying to recreate their wheel of value. So they want to include Disneyland Resort. They basically want to include all of their other apps, Disney Cruise. There are a lot of people doing Disney cruises. Everything in the same app, which I think means exactly as you say, they can track people's habits and move them towards commerce, move them towards experiences. And remember that the new CEO is coming from that experiences background, and he really wants to, and I get that, he's saying this is what we do well. This is our differentiator. This is what nobody else has, is the fact that we have the entire wheel of value. it becomes a closed ecosystem. There's streaming, there's commerce, there's travel, there's cruises, there's parks, everything in there. Convenience potentially, certainly for the super fans, yes. Cross-selling, definitely. The downside is complexity, because streaming apps have tried to move away from complexity. We're talking about adding a lot of new complexity, and Disney has a slightly checkered history of app integrations in the past. So they are talking about bringing a lot of different workflows together. I think at the moment it's only an idea that they're floating to see what people are thinking. I suspect if they did launch it, it would be mostly in the US to start with, because that's really where they have all the infrastructure. But I think it's a very interesting strategic idea to think, what's our differentiation? Where are we different? What's the thing that we have that nobody else has, and how can we build on it? So whether it will work or not, I don't know, but I thought it was very intriguing.
Yeah. So, something, super apps, they're a thing, aren't they? Yeah, these days. So, Disney, well, congrats. No cynicism here. It looks like the media view is that it's something real. Okay, thank you. Staying with Claire, we have a whole subsection, which I don't think warrants its own jingle, but within in the
you could try EastEnders again. It's fine. It could be ours.
I think it's versatile, but not that versatile. Let us go to music news. So a couple of items there. Over to you, Claire.
Yes, two main stories here, which I thought I would just combine. Universal Music Group. Remember, we discussed the fact that they'd had a takeover bid from Bill Ackman or Pershing Square, which is Bill Ackman's company. And one of the takeover bids' main reason was to say the stock is massively undervalued. And so Universal Music Group has not responded to the takeover bid, so we don't really know where they stand on this, but they are actively repositioning themselves by trying to address some of the things that the bid specifically pointed to. So they are selling 50%, not all of it. Ackman was asking them to sell the whole thing. They're only selling 50% of their equity stake in Spotify. This will bring $1.4 billion, which is not bad. And they want to use this to fund an expanded share buyback program, which Maureen can tell us more about how that actually works. But, this is really very much intended to boost their share price, which the market considers is undervalued. They've also said, to be fair, that some of the money from the Spotify share will be shared with the artists specifically, to make sure that they stay on board. So we don't know. There's a shareholder meeting at UMG, I think on the 13th of March. So it'll be very interesting to see what they say. They haven't really responded to Ackman's proposal, but they are making moves in this area. They're not standing still. Meanwhile, Bertelsmann, and you remember we talked a little bit about Bertelsmann when we talked about music publishing as the sort of fourth big three, the sort of super indie that was challenging the big three. They have announced that they're merging their business subsidiary, BMG, with Concord. Concord is a company based in Nashville, which is actually famous for owning mostly musical theater catalogues. So they own the rights to Rodgers and Hammerstein, they own the rights to Andrew Lloyd Webber, and they hold scripts for thousands of plays. And they also are very big in country music, and they have a bunch of other artists. So together they're still much smaller than Warner. There'll be $2.2 billion in projected revenues. Warner is at 6.7. Universal is at over 12 billion. So, we're talking about a smaller entity, but their market identity is the super independent, high efficiency, much higher margins. They're targeting 33% of EBITDA margins, which is, about 10 points higher than the big labels. And they are very lean and rights focused, a very different approach, very artist friendly service model. So they're trying to create a new way for music publishing. I think that's also very interesting. And they will relocate the headquarters to Nashville. So there you go. That's me. What did you think of all of these stories, Maureen?
I thought I was trying to think about the contrast between the two, or the several stories there, and I think on one side you've got UMG saying, I'm going to take money out of Spotify. It feels very much like a it's either a knee-jerk reaction from the sort of bid for the whole, just to show that management's doing something.
Yeah.
Now, to your point about the share buyback, share buybacks are good in certain circumstances. Effectively, you just supply the available shares out there that will trade in the market. So you have a little bit of control. But usually you don't like to do buybacks because you think, well, isn't there anything better you can do with that money? So it's a slightly controversial tactical or financial decisions. But anyway, they get a bit of cash and they get cash in. So although I still believe Spotify is hugely important, it is a mature asset. So you're probably not going to get the returns that you're looking for. Why not just grab some cash as an event? So that for me is kind of interesting. But in contrast, you've got the Bertelsmann going deeper into rights. And that was my takeaway from the music stories today. I think the one thing that it really stands out is, fine for cash, we'll do something better with it there. Well, Bertelsmann is doing something extremely important about it. And as you've sort of painted a really good picture about what they represent, I think it really does show that music is still a rights business. Distribution definitely changes, as we're seeing that. Platforms change, consumer behavior changes. But if you own your catalogue, you own something that I think can be monetized in many, many, many different ways, not dissimilar to the wheel of value or the circle that is of exploitation that is the Disney model. So I found the contrast really interesting, and the management's strategic intentions, completely different. But rights catalogue still very significant. In terms of music business.
I think a very clear sign of an industry in flux when you get such huge differing moves from two of the main players. So very interesting.
Agree.
Is it sort of a function, Maureen, of music being a different kind of media, something that you will listen to over and over again, or you'll come back to and then listen to it over and over again? Is that what drives that?
Yeah, I mean, library have very different.
Library.
Yeah. The catalogue and library have completely different value in music than they would in. I mean, people still listen to the recording of an opera in Glyndebourg 50 years ago.
And don't forget, you've got a whole new remixes and what we might call a derivatives market as well. So if you own the rights and then you can do the remixes, you're exploiting.
Sampling. I mean, it's a thing.
Exactly. And when I use the word exploit, it is a technical term. It's not about misuse. It's a term that you say that you can do more with the underlying intellectual property that sits there. So it's a more an industry term. It's an industry term.
Got it. Well, we love an industry term and also having it explained, because certainly I don't understand.
Just in case someone calls in. Just in case
someone
that's
right.
into us. Yeah.
We do get a lot of calls.
We get so many telephone calls,
Your switchboard is lighting up like a Christmas
as well.
tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all the pigeons. Yeah.
The lines are jammed for some reason. I don't know how that quite works. So that's good. Now, we always love a fight. We always love a scrap here on the Media Beat with Maureen and Claire. And it's amazing how many of them feature one of the participants in this particular virtual brawl. Maureen's here to tell us all about who's in the red corner and who's in the blue corner. But I'll give it away. So Sam Altman and Elon Musk are at it. Maureen, you have that story.
Yeah, so there's a trial on. If you did or did not pay attention or did not know about it, I think everybody in the industry knows about it. So Elon Musk is claiming that OpenAI abandoned its original non-profit mission and became a commercial business to serve Sam Altman, Microsoft, and the other investors as well. So that's the trial. That's the issue. So the Musk versus Altman trial, I think we're now in the second or third week, and a lot of the coverage has clearly, understandably, been more focused on the drama being not dissimilar to the soap. To the soap
It is a soap, yes.
or the vertical dramas. So guess what? The billionaire feud, the OpenAI origin story.
The thing is, the vertical dramas are short. This one's been going on for years.
For years and years, yeah. And all the personal texts that have surfaced as well, which are not very nice. And so all the tension between Musk and the other actors, let's say. But do you know what I think, though? Aside from all the drama, I think what's really interesting, and I don't think people are looking at this. Maybe they are, but no one's really talking about it. But under the scenario that if Musk actually wins, this is huge. This is absolutely huge. If Musk wins this case, the remedies could well be to the tune of, in damages, $134 billion. Okay, and that's a lot of money. But the real nuclear option that Elon Musk is going after is he would like to force OpenAI to go back to its original non-profit structure. Now, that is a huge problem for OpenAI. And the reason for that is we hear almost on a daily basis, a weekly basis, OpenAI's current financial model depends on its ability to raise capital to fund all the capital expenditure that is data centers and everything that underlies the AI technology tools. So it needs to be a commercial tech company and eventually give investors a route to some form of return. And that is what they're trying to do at the moment, is lay the foundation for a market listing, so for an IPO. Now, if that IPO path is taken off the table for OpenAI, the whole financial infrastructure just collapses. It becomes very fragile, very brittle. So I think this is not about a personality clash between Musk and Altman. This is something much bigger, and I think it's around a governance question. So can a not-for-profit, and Claire, you sit on a charity, can a not-for-profit mission originally built, especially in this circumstances, around benefiting humanity at large, which is what general AI is supposed to be about, be converted into a private enterprise with value and specifically around a technology that becomes commercially viable. So, I mean, the big question here, in my view, is going to be, what if it's a lose-lose situation? This trial.
Completely.
It really is a lose-lose situation. So if Musk wins, okay, his own maybe XAI becomes a bit more competitive because OpenAI itself is weakened. If Musk loses, that sends a really strong signal, an opposite signal, I think, that says public interest AI labs in particular can become commercial giants at any point in time, irrespective of whether they promise to do good or they promise not to become profitable, promise just to remain break even, just for the public interest. I think it's a really interesting set of circumstances that we find ourselves in. And my understanding is, with the private personal texts, was that, I don't know if it's Altman or Brockman, but they were trying to just walk away from this. But Elon Musk didn't allow that and said, no, the court it is.
He does like a public brawl. Yeah.
But it is quite fundamental in terms of if he gets his way. Now, there's a whole, I think, set of probabilities to suggest that Musk may not win. But frankly, it's the same situation that, a non-profit mission-based company can be a for-profit company. And of course, already California and I think also Delaware are the two states that have signed off legally to allow the not-for-profit to become a profitable structure. So I'm not quite sure how they undo that. But yeah, drama.
It's very dramatic. So, and people are betting on the result like crazy. So the prediction market is crazy, and people are betting that Musk will lose. I don't know if that's an indicator, but that's what the prediction market, the betting market is saying. You'll remember, I mean, I don't have anything much to add to this great presentation. I will remind everybody of the drama of 2023. Do you remember that, when Sam Altman was fired from OpenAI for about a week. 5 days, and he was fired. Everybody resigned. He had to come back. A bunch of people from the board got fired, and it was, so he has played poker before, Sam Altman, and won. Doesn't mean this one is the true one. There are definitely ways for charity, by the way, or a non-profit to become a commercial entities, but what my understanding is, what Musk is saying is that the way that they've done it contravenes the founding documents of the charity, and that's I don't know, because I haven't seen the founding documents, but that's going to be his argument. But also, he's asking for a lot of money for himself, and also he's asking for Sam Altman to be fired. So this is the problem. Yes, there is a real key principle buried under all of these interpersonal crisis, but it's kind of muddied by the other things that are happening, which is a pity, because, as you say, I think it's a very interesting legal argument.
I think he's also just to that point, exactly to that point as well. I think what he's made the very conversational statement. So whether or not this has legal grounds or not, but he says, "You stole the company from me." That's what he's suggesting, because he put in the initial money, something like $40 million. But of course, when they needed billions of dollars, of course they looked to Microsoft and other investors, and they didn't look to him. So I think he feels as if he's been pushed out and that they stole the company from him.
Oh, Elon. Were you bullied at school, my sweetheart? So there we go. Maybe run and run. So let's keep an eye on that. I think that's probably the thing. A watching brief. Thank you so much. Delightful in the news. Very, very dense. Very full of facts. Very full of things to learn and cling on to. But that was, for now, in the news. Okay, before we move on, my extensive research on George Clooney has brought up several things that he did before ER, including something called E/R, which is a CBS.
Yes, famously.
Yes, he's done ER and DR. He was an extra in something called Sentinel. He also played a part in The Golden Girls and in Roseanne. He was a semi-regular.
So it was more a sitcom rather than soaps. We should do something on sitcoms in the future. We'll do that. I love sitcoms. Love sitcoms almost as much as I love soaps.
Yeah. Oh, golly, which is it? Seinfeld or The Office? I can never decide which to watch again. Thank you so much. Here we go on the Podmojis. I hope we're ready. And, yes, God, some great things here. Some things I understand, some things I don't, as usual. This is the first one. And I'm going to think, because I think Claire was the first person to mention asterisk slop. In other words, X-slop, maybe new thing. Anyway, something that's slop. Podslop's a new thing. And I now know what that probably is. However, it's worth discussing and podmojizing. So I'll start with Claire on Podslop.
Podslops, low-quality AI-generated podcasts, not at all like this podcast, which are flooding platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts, etc. Just to give you a sense, in a 9-day period, 11,000 new podcast feeds launched, and 4,000. First of all, that's a crazy number, but 4,000 of those were AI-generated Podslop. On a single track day, 39% of new feeds were AI-generated. So this is terrifying. We are soon going to be replaced by AI avatars. I don't know. I have no word for this. It's really sad. I'm going to go with the scream emoji.
Oh, it's well used, but very, very effective.
Very effective. It's an oldie but a goldie. Oh no, she's bringing the O or the lobster. Big question.
1,700 points.
I forgot the O's.
Yes, very good. They cannot tell whether it is AI or not. Maureen, over to you.
Okay, well, you can tell it's not AI because I'm holding what looks like a banana, but it's not. It's a objet d'art from Australia.
Looks like a massive macaroni.
That's the best. You have the best. That's excellent. Yeah. So that's
it's like a very gentle insult, you massive macaroni.
It does. It's synthetic as the podslops as are. This is synthetic.
Very good.
You're absolutely right, macaroni.
Very clever.
That's as good as it gets.
Actually. That's 1,650 points. So that's good. So let's move on. I like that. Massive macaroni. So Spotify is moving into fitness content. Interesting. Maureen, let's stay with you on that one.
Yeah, I personally didn't find it interesting, Oliver. So,
Oh, really?
but it's amazing. I mean, there's always
you
an
can use the
announcement.
snooze emoji.
I'm going to use the snooze. I'm going to use the snooze emoji as well. Yeah, can I just close my eyes now? Yeah, or is that praying? Good. Is that praying? But
no, it's peaceful. Praying would be under your chin.
Okay. So effectively, what they want you to do, in not just a bit like what we were discussing earlier about the Disney sort of app, the super app. They just want to do that as well, and then they keep going down the long list of how can we attract our listeners, our viewers, our people who are reading the books. What next? Let's do some fitness. So they're just adding fitness. Sorry, that's a very, very maybe unfair description of what they're doing, but they're getting into fitness because they want to keep you inside their little environment and their ecosystem.
They're super app.
When you wake up in the morning, you do a little bit of Pilates with them. You then you listen to the news, and then you read a book, and then you go to bed again. So so my Podmoji is that it's like it's my hedgehog.
It's a porcupine.
It's a porcupine. What? Yeah,
right.
I'm putting a hedgehog just now because it's slow. Yeah.
7.5 points for that. Claire?
That was not convincing. Claire's not convinced by that.
I like the snooze. But I agree with you, Maureen. It's not surprising. It's a very logical move. I think it's neat because I think Spotify is saying we want to own audio. And they are, moving into that direction. They want to own everything you do when you've got your earphones on. And you're not watching something, and that makes sense. So they've got music, you've said it, they've got podcasts, they've got books, and now they have fitness because they know that a lot of their users are fitness users. They know that they're already using Spotify for their running playlists, etc. So it's a very logical brand extension. So it's I agree. It's not super exciting, but I think it's a good smart move. So I'm going to go with thumbs up, Spotify. Keep doing what you're doing. I do like Spotify. I've got a bit of I think they're quite a nice company.
Me too. I do.
I think their interface could be easier. I don't know. When I'm just going out for a run, I just fiddling around. It's just like a bit clunky. Maybe it's just like the eBay one that's just grown up over time and become a monster. 7 points. Right. So I'm winning so far today. And
that's very good. That's a new one.
Yeah. I think that's well done, me.
You should win sometimes, Oliver. I like it.
It would be nice if I,
you got 20 points. 20 points for your EastEnders themes tune.
Oh, yeah. You should get points for that.
I missed my cue on the second one. I know. It's very kind of you, but I wasn't.
You can edit it out. You can make yourself. You're in control, Oliver. You're the producer.
I suppose I am. Yeah, that's right. Come on. And stop saying things that are interesting that are not interesting as well. That's another thing I'm going to do. I'm such a people pleaser. Right. Next thing is...
Oliver, move on. Come on, Oliver.
Yeah. Sorry. No, hang on. I'm in charge. Anyway, so Bezos sponsors the Met Gala. Oh, yeah, everyone's whining on about this. So I'm going to go Claire on this one. And lots of people in nice dresses and suits and stuff. Lovely.
Yes, a lot of controversy about the Met Gala and Bezos. I think, you know what? I work for a lot of charities, or with a lot of charities. It's very difficult to raise money at the moment. Fundraising is harder and harder for everybody. And as a pure fundraising tactic, which is what it was, the Met Gala is a major fundraiser for the Costume Institute. They will have made a lot of money from that sponsorship. So the story is Jeff Bezos and his lady friend Lauren Sanchez are sponsoring the Met Gala. I will say that for a charity, one of the key currency that a charity has is its reputation. And I think this came with a big reputational cost. That's because they're sure they thought about it and they decided it was worth it because they still wanted to do it. So it still got a lot of interest, a lot of commentary on the dresses. Everybody wanted to talk about who was wearing what on the red carpet. So, it remains a moment, a cultural moment in the year. And I don't think that's gone just because Jeff Bezos sponsored it. I'm going to say as well, if he's going to spend money on something, that's not a bad place to spend it. It is a charity. It is a fundraiser. Why not? So I don't know when my fundraising. Oh, do you know the Podmoji, the lady with the red dress that dances? That's my Podmoji. You're going to have to imagine it.
Okay. Yep. I can imagine.
Just picture it.
Yeah. You know, I know.
Well, add it in post, Oliver.
Yes, right. No, Dancing in Red. I didn't know that one. Maureen. I know Lady in Red, the worst song ever written. Maureen.
Oh yeah. The Lady in Red is as she is. I agree with you, Claire. I was struggling with. Do I like the fact that a lovely cultural institution is receiving money, the costume institution? Well, yes, it's fantastic because it's extremely hard, as you say, to raise money. But at the same time, it does sort of shift the conversation around the cultural sort of authority. So a tech billionaire and a nice cultural institution. So I'm just glad that it was a moment and they got some money. So my one, of course, has got to be like a surrealist sort of.
Oh, the lobster is back! Yes. Yeah. It's your Met Gala dress.
It's my exactly. I've got it exactly.
I like that. I should have
every show. Yes.
I feel like a lobster-shaped dress on you with your red hair would look incredible. Amazing. You would be perfect on that red carpet.
Absolutely, yeah.
Red on red.
You wouldn't feel like you just dropped
red on red.
Yes. Very good. Right. I've been overtaken by you two, who both have scored 2026 points. So congratulations. It's a draw, and I think that's a fair result, given the surreal nature of the Podmojis this time. And we're there. We've done it. We've cracked on. We've covered quite a lot of ground, bit of music, bit of fighting, a bit of a super app. Soaps was excellent, particularly the weird plot lines. The Finnish twins with the ponytail, the fake ponytail. It's genius. Again,
I will send you the link. Actually, I'll put the link up on LinkedIn when we put up the newsletter.
And was it good?
People have to see this. Oh, fantastic! The look on the wife's face when she pulls off the ponytail. It's just it's a moment, it's a cultural moment. Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
It's twin impersonation 101. So fit the ponytail more firmly. But anyway,
I will say my favorite twin impersonation is David Tennant in Nativity to Danger in the Manger, which is an interesting movie. Note that I didn't say a good movie, with David Tennant playing twins. One of them is evil. It's called Roderick. Yes.
Okay. Reminds me of the
Gets point for the title, Danger in the Manger.
I was in The Resistible Rise of Arturo Ui, which had twins in, I think. Is that Dario Fo? Anyway, whatever. I didn't play it. So, either of them. So that's wonderful. It only remains for me to say goodbye and thank you to Maureen.
Goodbye, Oliver. Goodbye, Claire. Thank you.
And also to you, Claire. Goodbye. Thank you.
Goodbye, Oliver. Goodbye, Maureen. Goodbye, everyone. And thank you.
And goodbye to the media vetosphere. We are not AI, and damn it, we never will be. Until the next time. Bye-bye.